Rochester, New York, the home of the creator of Captain America, the home of the creator of The Garbage Plate, and the home of the creator of Flower City Comic Con. This is FC3's Monkey Business, your one-stop shop for everything geeky. Starring my friends and me. I am Chris, this is Billy, that is Tanya, and over there hanging out at his office is Dan, and we are here to entertain you for at least another, half an hour to an hour. We'll figure it out as we go. So hunker in, hang in there, and let's see what happens next. Hi, guys.
Okay.
Was that good? How'd you like that one? I like that one.
It worked. Yay, Chris.
Thank you. I have no idea what I'm doing half the time, and I'm a very dangerous man when I don't know what I'm doing. Checkmate.
That's different from any other day.
Shush. We haven't done this in a little while. I was a little out of practice.
I know.
How you guys doing?
I was trying to configure my microphone stand over here.
Yeah?
Because I have my my snowball today instead of my headset. So if I'm a little distant, it's because I'm still trying to finagle my stand of the laminating machine boxes.
So what you're saying, you have a snowball's chance of being in this podcast today?
Well, I had a snowball's chance of being in on the podcast because I was having technical issues initially.
But we fixed it.
I know. It took us like about a half hour to fix that. Oh,
no, it wasn't that bad.
It was about 20 minutes.
See, that's not a half an hour. That's a third of an hour.
Well,
You're a math teacher. Fractions are important.
4/3 say fractions are important.
Yes, dear. That's a very Dan joke right there. That is an extremely Dan joke.
Right hey, there. You liked my Lego joke that I sent yesterday.
I did.
Yeah.
I did too. The Lego store.
Yeah, there were people lining up for blocks.
Lined up for around the block. Great. Yeah, well, I sent it to Chris, and then a little while later, I saw it on Facebook that John and Dan or whatever, and I'm just like, yeah. I'm like, I wonder how many more people sent it to Chris.
Oh, quite a few.
Yeah,
quite a few, but that's okay. How you doing, Billy?
I'm doing good. I've had a decent week, despite the, all the stuff going on in the world. I'm still quarantined in my house, and we went shopping yesterday, and immediately back home, and just sort of been isolated. And, interesting news out of the radio world, which didn't hurt my feelings at all. So
No, didn't shed one bloody tear. But I'll tell you what, Billy, going forward, make sure, don't be stupid.
Yeah, don't be stupid. Absolutely. That got more likes. Me tweeting that and putting it on Facebook, it got more reaction than anything I've ever put on social media ever.
There's a certain karma.
Exactly. There's a certain full circle to that just was appropriate. I mean,
my 9-word post was the most popular thing I've ever put up. So,
hey, you take your licks where you can, because I'll tell you what, you handled your situation with a lot of class.
Mm-hmm. I didn't delete my social media accounts like they did. So
no, they just disappeared off the face of the planet, and honestly, don't mind that at all.
No.
Well, you didn't get yourself into trouble.
No.
So.
Nope.
No.
So it's been an interesting week, sad stuff and that, and just laying around watching movies and reading books and listening to music and podcasts and the stuff I would do anyway. So my week has been that.
Good. Let's celebrate some things today. We can celebrate that you're doing that thing, and let's celebrate SpaceX and NASA getting men off the ground from United States territory for the first time in 10 years. And the Dragon capsule, which the two astronauts on board, which I cannot stop giggling every time I hear Bob and Doug.
Exactly.
Right? Bob and Doug go ahead.
Take off. Bob and Doug take off.
Bob and Doug take off. And they named their capsule Endeavour after the first shuttle both of them flew at one point or another, which is great, because then that'll make this current Dragon capsule that's in space right now I think they're coming home today, if I'm not mistaken. This Sunday that we're recording on, they're supposed to break away from the space station and come home, if I heard that correctly. But that'll make the third American spaceship named Endeavour. So that's kind of cool. I like that. That's should be like NCC 1000 B. Actually, Endeavour was the orbiter, the space shuttle. It was OV-105 because it was the last of them to be built if I remember correctly. So it'd be OV105-A. Because I'm a nerd, and I went right there because I was happy to do that. What do you got to celebrate, Tanya Fabulous?
Well, our pool is open and the stairs are in, and my kid was in it yesterday.
Even though it wasn't exactly bathwater temperatures, what you're saying.
Oh no, it's like I want to say in the 60s, maybe low 70s for the pool temp.
But did Riker care?
He did not care.
No. So there you have it.
The kids don't feel it, so I don't know.
It's supposed to be 90 degrees on Wednesday, so your pool's up in perfect time.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, it's up and running. The only thing that we still have to do is put the gazebo up, the fabric covering over the gazebo, so it gives us some shade on the deck.
On the deck, yeah.
Other than that, I've just been kind of trying to clean and organize, and Riker has now is like kind of got his quote unquote big boy room. Granted, he's 11 going on like 18 at times.
So he thinks.
Yeah.
There's also times where he's 11 going on 6.
Yeah. Wow. And you're 49 going on 6 at times.
12. It's
5.
12.
Uh-huh.
I can enjoy Legos at 12.
Yes, you can. So, I mean, he got a laptop early for his birthday, and then my mom bought him a desk for his room. So we're doing some changes in his room. And
nice.
He was doing a really nice job helping us clean and organize and get stuff out of it. And can I tell you, the number of Legos that are in his room and his closet that are even downstairs, I think we're rivaling the Lego store right about now.
You can never have too many Legos. Seriously.
Oh my God. And Nerf guns. Those are the other things. Legos and Nerf guns pretty much fill his closet. So.
Not this past Christmas, but the Christmas before that, Ian and I were walking around Eastview Mall, and we wound up invariably at the Lego store. And
really?
Well, of course, no, surprise. But we're just walking around pointing stuff out, and one of the guys comes up and they ask questions. Do you need help with anything? Can I show you stuff, or whatever the case may be. So the guy who was working there, I can't remember his name. Ian and I are just chewing the fat, just talking about various things and getting a kick out of Legos and whatnot. And these 2 people behind us that were well within earshot, definitely not social distancing a year and a half ago. They were talking about what would happen if they won the lottery, and they were just kind of having this passing conversation. And I made the comment to the worker, I said, Jesus, if I won the lottery, I would call ahead and say I'm on my way with a box truck. So it's just, and he's kind of laughed. He goes, yeah, you're not the only person who's ever said that to me. I'd be showing up with a box truck and a credit card. Here, let's time to play.
Yeah, no kidding. I don't know.
How about you, Daniel Son? What do you got to celebrate lately?
Still alive, still healthy. Sun is shining.
That works.
All good stuff so far.
That definitely works. Those are things that are viable answers. Tanya, you were about to say something. I think I heard a blip and then I walked over you, and I apologize for that.
It was a fleeting thought that flew right out. That
in one ear, out the other, huh?
Yeah, I don't know. I'm looking forward to finally knowing when the end of the school year is. My last day is June 19th, and so now we're just waiting to see what's going to happen for summer program, because our illustrious governor has acknowledged that executive order that in-person special education services can be done over summer program.
Okay.
So they're trying to figure out what that is going to look like if we happen to do it. I don't know. Like, I was willing to continue to distance learn from my computer and my deck. So I don't know what's in store for the summer, but the kids they're tired. They want to see people. Yes. I've seen more kids over the last couple days on my Zoom meetings, and they're like, "Oh, Beatrice!" So and I'm putting together the graduation PowerPoint. So so I'm celebrating that.
Yesterday was the graduation of the alma mater for Dan and I. And they worked it so that people could still be distant from each other. They kind of came in groups. The entire ceremony from stem to stern took like almost 4 hours, I'm being told. because they were like, because the staff was there and in their places, and then a group would come in and they would do a thing for them. The kids could be in their cap and gown and pose for pictures and whatnot, and then they would disappear, and then the next group would come in. So there's just kind of rotating staff through. But Jules was incredibly upset by that, because the people who were juniors when she was a senior, all of her friends were graduating, and she could not go to show her support. So it was very upsetting for her. And it kind of just, we had this little talk last night about how we're just tired of it. We just want to start getting back into seeing people and being places and going places and whatnot. And
yeah, but do you guys think it's time yet? Or like,
no,
all the stuff over the last couple weeks has sort of overshadowed what's going on in the nice weather, and
right.
It's sort of making it feel, hey, this is over, and I don't think it is.
It's not.
I mean, here's the thing: is we did get some good.
Wait a week or two and see if there's any big outbreaks from all these protests. Then,
from Memorial Day weekend, and then a week later was the protests. I mean, we definitely have a barometer of how things are going to spread. So it's hunker in for a little while longer. So definitely, to answer your question, Billy, no, we're not ready that by any stretch of the imagination. But I think we've reached the point where even those of us who understand what's going on are starting to wear thin a little bit. We're like, okay, we get it, but Jesus. But we did.
I think we need to make at least some sort of idea of plans versus play it by ear. No one knows anything about what's going to happen. What the next phase might be, and I think that's part of the problem, is that it's all so up in the air, and so nothing being said about it. That's driving people even crazier.
Yeah, exactly. That's part of it. We did get some. Go ahead, Tanya. Go ahead.
Well, correct me if I'm wrong, but I thought I saw a little news snippet either yesterday or the day before that there were no new cases in Monroe County.
You beat me to it. That was the point I was trying to make. Is that my next breath was going to be that this morning I read the news that out of New York City, there were 0 confirmed COVID-related deaths for the first time since March.
Yeah,
so that's we'll celebrate that. I mean, is it a sign that it's over? No. Because there are still people who are in the hospital suffering with this.
Right.
My neighbor across the street, his daughter's been in the hospital for almost 4 weeks now, and she's been battling it. So it's there. It's still out there. So anyway, so that's a thing.
Yeah.
What nerdy things should we I mean, I have a list of things that I suggest.
You do have a list.
We were doing our online meeting the other day, and I came up with a list of possibilities. So nobody ever actually said anything about it. So I think we should go through the list, pick a topic, and we'll jump on that in the main section today.
You were on a roll. We were just letting to see how far you could go into that rabbit hole.
I see it is. I see how it is. Because admittedly, my first at least half dozen ideas were definitely like throwaway ones just for the humor. All right, so let's say we'll start with item number 1. Was the Mayan priest who predicted the end of the world in 2012 dyslexic? And he actually meant to say 2021.
Oh, okay. I'm like 2020, 2012. How does that?
2021. Yeah, okay, he just got his numbers reversed.
Okay, is it dyslexic or dysgraphic?
Oh, see, teacher. Oh. I'm going to point number 2. Number 2. What the number 2 suggestion was: dwarves having the right idea and digging into a mountainside and hiding away from reality.
But they have a cave troll.
They have. Oh, that was the goblins. The goblins brought the cave troll.
Okay, but that was in a dwarven area, wasn't it?
Oh, see, now you're talking like a gamer. I'm so proud of you. You just did that. That was awesome. You just made reference to a dwarven zone. That's cool.
I'm talking about the Mines of Mordor.
I see.
No, the Mines of Moria.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Wasn't that a dwarven area?
Yes. Well, it was a dwarven kingdom. When you use the word area, then we're like, that's a gamer thing. That's a dwarven zone thing.
Oh, well, I wasn't going there, but okay.
It was a kingdom and taken over by the
goblins and
the orc.
Mm-hmm.
I have to watch the second movie, Chris.
Yes, you do. So plan a night. Come on over.
Okay.
All right. Idea number 3, the delicacies of the Harry Potter universe. Chocolate frogs. Were they real frogs dipped in chocolate a la Monty Python, or were they toys with dangerous spring-loaded surprises for unsuspecting young wizards? Next
magic.
I almost want to say next on Geraldo after most of these first few.
Jerry Springer?
Yeah,
It was magic, just pure magic.
I know. Next on Jerry Springer, how would you do the play-by-play of a solitaire championship?
It's an ace. It's an ace.
It's the ace. He's playing the ace.
Oh my God.
And I just kept going because you guys didn't intercede. So this entire list is your fault for not cutting in and saying,
Oh, I jumped in after this next one.
Let's see. In the days of quarantine and riots,
Nope.
which
you forgot one.
Oh, okay. Oh, yeah, here we go. Number 5, potential 50 Shades of Grey sequels, i.e. 27 Shades of Chartreuse. And all you said was, "Oh boy, that's not jumping in." That was basically that was only encouraging me.
Oh, is that how you took it?
Yeah.
Potential 50 Shades of Grey sequels, 27 Shades of Chartreuse, 37 Shades of Azure.
Like you need encouragement.
Come on, give me a couple more titles before I go to number 6.
Yeah.
107 Shades of Cream.
Oh boy.
9 Shades of Cream? I don't know, Chris.
Come on, 27 Shades of Chartreuse. That was the best one of the 3 so far.
Yes.
But yeah, then number 6 was in the days of quarantine and riots, which dystopia do you think we're most likely headed for?
I don't know.
I'm going with Escape from New York.
There you go, Escape from New York. Put a wall around just wall off Manhattan and hope for the best.
Well, I've been saying that for years. Just set them free.
There's actually a movement which I have kind of been a part of from time to time, of Manhattan should just be cut loose and made its own state, or a district like this District of Columbia. Its own kind of.
So it doesn't impact the rest of the state?
Well, the thing is it's a double-edged sword, really. Would New York State be able to survive without the economic boost of Manhattan and Long Island, right? So there's a debate there. There's definitely a debate.
What would the state be if that did happen?
Oh, it would be a huge red state, that's for sure.
Yeah.
It would flip in a heartbeat because most of it is rural, or agrarian. And those people tend to be more conservative. I mean, you have the holdouts of Buffalo, the Orion's Belt of Buffalo, Rochester, Syracuse, which are very blue state. But that's not enough to outnumber the rest of the state.
Right.
The 8 million people in Manhattan is what's keeps things democratic here. Anyway, back and forth on that one. Number 7, I think it was the first legitimate one that I came up with. Is like that would be a decent geek topic. Your favorite spaceship, real and or fictional, that isn't the TARDIS, because that's such an easy go-to.
Damn you.
Yeah, I know, seriously. But
to me, the easy answer is the Enterprise.
Which one?
The original.
The original.
Well, no, I'm going to go with Next Generation.
Okay, so the 1701D.
Yes.
Okay.
Because they had a holodeck.
They had the
holodeck and transporters are nice. Yes.
Yeah.
Definitely.
I'm going to go with the Galactica because
the Galactica.
It's always been my ship there.
That's true. Did you? I mean, it was definitely vastly different in terms of the detail in the rebooted series from 2005 than it was in the original 1979 series.
Very much so. Yeah.
Did you like it better or worse?
There were much deeper stories in the reboot there.
Well, we can talk about the stories at another time. I'm just talking about the differences in the ship, the 1979 Galactica versus the 2005 Galactica.
Well, so the big difference is the original one was a ship at kind of the peak of its thing, and the reboot it was being retired into a museum piece.
Yes, it was definitely not the top of the line.
Big differences as far as that. I mean, the fact that it can survive a nuclear bomb hitting it was pretty impressive. And it's kind of neat how the launch base sucked into the ship when they moved up, and it did it could jump.
So it could do the faster than light speed.
Right, it had more capabilities than the original one and everything, and I grew to like it a lot.
Okay,
it's hard to. The first one's always going to stick in my head though,
right?
Because it was the look of it, this I don't know, yeah, it's.
I got a kick on
they're very different ships, yeah.
In story wise, I got a kick in the pilot how Laura Roslin called Lee Captain Apollo, and he's like, "Oh, Apollo's just my call sign." She goes, "Yeah, but it's got Captain Apollo's got such a lovely ring to it, doesn't it?" And then they moved on, so it was a nice little nod to the original series. Let's do a podcast on Battlestar Galactica very soon, because I know we really have never done a full deep dive into it, and I know that's been your jam for the longest time. Like you are into Battlestar Galactica as I am into Doctor Who. Right, so that's the thing. So I want to give that some love, but that's going to be
the first show I really, really loved. I think there was a Star Trek in there, but Battlestar really.
I remember you talking about it way back when we were in high school. That's a thing that made an impression.
And it was only one season. Come on.
Well, there was Galactica 1980, which we will not be talking about.
We don't talk about, except for one episode. One episode you can talk about. One episode.
Okay.
The Starbuck episode. There.
Okay.
It's the only one you're allowed to talk about.
All right. So moving on this list that had like 15 or 16 things.
Did anybody else have
a spaceship?
Oh, okay. Sorry, Tanya. Go ahead.
I have to go to one of the most iconic spaceships ever. The Millennium Falcon.
There you go.
Oh, that's a good one.
One of my favorites too.
The ultimate family camper.
Yeah, I mean, it's like it's just it's taken so many hits, but keeps on ticking.
Yeah, and it is, especially in the extended universe novelizations, the Falcon has taken several terminal beatings, but has always seems to be rebuilt or come back or do more. So that's definitely that is a great ship. Did I answer?
And the Lego piece is 7,541 individual pieces.
Yep, worth every single penny. And one of these days I will get my hands on that set.
I tried. I thought I was getting that set for like $100, and it came out to be this little military truck from China. But so mental note, PSA, don't click any of those Lego things or building things on Facebook, because it's really
the ones that are like 90% off. They're not real.
Yeah,
it's not real, but I did get my money back on it though.
Total scam.
It was like $134 that I did get everything back for this little thing. It's like the emails going back and forth. They're like, you give to your son and he enjoy, and you give me money. No. Just the grammatical English in there was killing me. And I'm like, no, this is not what it says. Millennium Falcon on my invoice. This is not the Millennium Falcon. So, yeah. But it was supposed to be the 7,500 piece one. And that didn't happen.
It wasn't. It didn't work out so well.
And no, Chris, you didn't answer.
I didn't answer, did I?
No.
My favorite ship for science fiction is a ship that only one other human being on the planet knows really all that well, and it's the one that I designed myself for a Star Wars game. But then I started really adding a whole lot of detail into it, and it's going to become the hero ship of the books that I've been trying to write over the years. So if I ever get a chance to write these stories and put them on paper or text and get them out to folks, you guys will all be introduced to the ship that I've lovingly named the Erasmus over the years. I always go back to it and I think about how much detail I've put into this damn thing over the years. I mean, there was a day I have, and there was a day I remember when I was furiously writing. I mean, pages were coming out, and I'm just talking about this damn thing. I could close my eyes and walk the corridors of this ship in my head. Right, that's how well I know it, and that's how detailed and so how alive this thing has become. So for all of the hero ships that are out there, this one's my favorite, and I can't wait to. Hopefully, one of these days I'll actually get to share it with people.
So what's your favorite non-ship that you designed?
Okay, it's a toss-up. It's really a toss-up between the Falcon, because and Tanya beat me to that one, because the Falcon represents a lot of the vibe that I love about a good spaceship, and the Enterprise E, because I felt that was just, they finally got it right. All of the Enterprises were cool in their own way. I mean, so I'm not going to diss any of them, especially the JJ Universe Enterprise was just amazing in my opinion. But for me, as watching Star Trek evolve over its lifetime, I've had my favorite Star Trek designs, the Excelsior for one. Defiant has always been kind of cool to me. But seeing the E show up on screen for the first time and just looking at it in all of its majesty on the big screen, I was like, yeah, that's her. That's the one I would have put together if I'd been given the opportunity. So yeah, it's the Falcon and the 1701E are my two favorites.
And hopping on, because I'm Googling everything, so I hopped on to the Enterprise E and from First Contact and things like that, and I happened to find a side cutaway that shows like all the little areas, and it's like got the list of the ship specifications and everything. It's kind of like one of those books that you can open, and it kind of like has the overlay, and you keep putting levels and levels and levels. So those are the ones that I always enjoy looking at, is saying, oh, what's in there? What's in seeing the little diorama or description of it.
Right.
So that's on Pinterest currently.
Very cool. I'm going to have to look that up.
Yeah. He is a nice looking ship though. Yeah.
So, all right, hang on a second here. All right. Where am I here? So we've talked about spaceships. We can do a deep dive on that sometime.
What is the worst movie series ever, and why is it Twilight? That was your next idea.
Yes, it is. I was just about to read it, and you beat me to it.
You know what? Can I tell you, I haven't seen the movie. I've read the books, but I have not gone down that rabbit hole of watching the movies.
I watched the first movie because I was forced to, because everybody else in the room was watching it, and so I sat through it and I watched it, and I was just horrified. And not like oh, it's a horror movie and it scared me kind of thing. I was horrified because of just how god awful it was.
See,
I think I own it, but I don't think I've watched it all the way through.
I like vampires. I like werewolves, and no interest in ever seeing Twilight.
I did read the books, and I thought the books were okay. I didn't watch all the movies. I think I watched the first, maybe the second one. I don't know, but I thought the books were okay. But I didn't get into the movie either.
And vampires don't sparkle.
No, they damn well do not.
But it's some of the cases where the books are better. In most cases, books are better than the movies, anyways. But yeah, but I got through all the books. The books were okay. It wasn't, it was someone's interpretation of how vampires are and stuff. So it's like, and werewolves and whatever. So it was interesting, but I did not get into the movies really.
Was it Twilight or 50 Shades of Grey that had an over-excessive amount of murmuring going on? It was 50 Shades. Because my ex-wife read all of the 50 Shades books, and she was getting a laugh out of the dialogue. She would always share.
Oh my God.
She did not take it seriously, right? Yeah. She was just reading it for the entertainment value and to have something to talk about with the rest of her friends. But she's like, oh my God, everybody in this goddamn book is murmuring.
Murmuring?
Oh, she murmured, he murmured. It was like
it's like they didn't have another word to use.
The author's favorite, you catch phrase there?
Yeah.
That's funny because I didn't necessarily pick up on that, and I've read them all too. So
I have not read any of those.
Nor will he ever.
Not on
for
my
the sake of your own sanity. It will not happen.
The Wheel of Time series right now. So come on.
I have you know what? I've never read the Wheel of Time.
I've never read it either. I'm on the first book. I keep on hearing about it. Okay, I got to try it. So
hey, Chris, I think Sean has those books. If you want to go down that rabbit hole.
Okay.
Because he's a big Wheel of Time person.
Okay.
I'm getting into it. I mean, it's I don't know why I haven't read it before now because it's kind of up my stuff, on my alley here, but
there is a Wheel of Time role-playing game too.
Oh, is there now? Well,
yes.
So I'm definitely going to have to dive into that eventually. I know that the Asimov Foundation series, I started reading the first book of that and then didn't quite get through it because it wasn't because the book was bad. Isaac Asimov's writing style, I mean, in the first 2 or 3 sentences, you're like, I see how this man is a genius. He did more with 3 sentences than I'd seen anybody ever do with paragraphs. It was amazing. But time got distracted, things moved away, and that was it. But I want to go back and read Foundation. I want to read Wheel of Time.
I've read the Foundation series many times.
I know it's one of your favorites.
All of them, all the Foundation, all the robots. It'll be pre-Foundation, all the stuff, all the stuff that goes together for Asimov.
How many books are there now in that series?
Well, I mean, because you got the robots on Earth, so back still on Earth, and kind of it all goes into the Foundation. There's I don't know. There's at least gotta say there's probably at least 8 or 10 that kind of all mesh in together, kind of.
Okay. So there's the Asimov cinematic universe.
Kind of, yeah. I mean, because they if you just read the first couple of Foundation books, you don't if you get all the books, they kind of go back to the beginning of all the robot books before it.
Okay.
Because there's these books that take place back on Earth when Earth just had a few colonies there, had 50 colonies there, and that's when kind of like the Robots and Earth series starts, but it all kind of meshes together, kind of thing. So I love it. The writing is just amazing, and some authors have done some other books to try to continue the Foundation stuff, and it's like it's not the same.
Yeah, you don't have Asimov's skill with the language.
Yeah, and they're trying to be like that. It just doesn't work. I don't know. I read like one of them. I just couldn't get into it. It wasn't the same.
But, I love how the question was, what is the worst movie series ever, and why is it Twilight? And we're talking about the Foundation series of books. That is a great deflection. I'm going to.
We never digress. We never, you never change paths or anything, right?
That's our thing.
And actually, I was thinking about the worst movie series of the ones that I've seen. Like I've never seen Twilight. I'm going to go Transformers, except I really liked Bumblebee.
Well, yeah, the Bumblebee movie itself was fun, and Bumblebee as a character was fun. I like that. But the Transformers movies were just basically Michael Bay was given a budget and blew things up.
But the Bumblebee movie was good.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. Definitely a lot of fun. They made some good choices with that one. But what other candidates can we throw in for the worst movie series ever?
Police Academy.
Police Academy. Are there no redeeming aspects of that particular series? I mean, the first one was funny as hell.
It's kind of funny, but when you figure at this point, the thing everyone remembers is the guy that can make noises.
Oh, true. Yeah.
Michael Winslow. I mean, Steve Guttenberg was in it, and there were some other celebrities at the time. But
if they would have stopped the one movie, it probably would have held up better.
Yeah.
How many did they make? They made
I think there's like 8 or 9 of them.
Oh my gosh!
I don't think there's that many, but
let me look.
Let's find that out.
There was a lot, and I saw a number I never saw before.
Police Academy movies. Oops.
But yeah. The first one was good. It was 6. Mission to Moscow. Police Academy Next Generation.
Jesus.
I'm
wondering what's inspired that one.
There's a Police Academy, the television series too.
Really?
There was a TV show?
Apparently, 1988. Okay. Television 88 to 89. There's also a 97 to 98 one.
That's weird. I didn't know that existed.
Film.
No, I think the first one was good. If you just leave it at the first one, you enjoy yourself.
There were 7 of them.
Yeah, the other 6 you probably don't need.
Yeah. And who knows? There's probably a reboot on the way.
Yeah, because Hollywood is out of ideas. We've done a podcast about that, right? Talking about how Hollywood's out of ideas.
Yep.
And there's
Jaws, for instance. The first Jaws was a classic, but then they should have just stopped.
Then there's 2 separate TV series, one in 89 and one in 98.
I never heard of them before.
And between the two of them, 90 episodes of TV that I've never heard of.
Oh my God.
90 episodes?
The first series had 2 seasons, 65 episodes total. The other one season of 26 episodes.
On what network were they on?
They were syndicated. So whoever wanted to buy them, I guess.
Oh my gosh.
They were on the nascent food channel to fill in the block between midnight and 2:00 in the morning when they were done cooking pancakes.
Jeez.
I don't know.
That's crazy.
That's
Wow.
that's insane.
Oh, actually, the first series was a cartoon. It was
so that's why it was so easy to ignore. Apparently,
it was Police Academy, the animated series.
Oh my
2
God.
seasons, 65 episodes.
Oh, that's amazing. So let's take this basically bathroom humor and put it in for kids. Okay, that makes sense. Sure.
You know what makes great cartoons? R-rated movies.
Yep. That was exactly the thought I was having. Holy moly. Speaking of R-rated movies,
yes.
Suggestion number 9.
You're an ass.
Yes, but you love me anyway.
I do?
Suggestion number 9 was Tanya's first in-depth expose, a detailed video essay about pornography and science fiction and the improper use of artificial gravity.
Now, yeah. I don't know about the video part of this. I'm not very good with video. So I'm not good with technology, at least for today. So,
in my defense, while I was coming up with this list, I was drinking. I'm just going to say that. I'm not going to mention that it was iced tea, but still.
Yeah.
I was going to say it should have been iced tea because you were still on work hours. So
yeah. Anyway,
you might have been thinking about drinking something else at that point, but
because as soon as I got home, it was all over.
The iced tea became what, a Long Island iced tea?
No. There's always there's a supply of woodchuck in my house at all times.
Okay. Yeah, no.
So we're not going to discuss that one too much in depth. We'll just go right on to number 10.
Yeah.
The worst job on the Enterprise, a discussion of what the reality of Starfleet would be like.
You know what? In regards to that one, I actually have been trying to think of that one. Like I was coming back from checking on Anne yesterday, and helped mow their lawn and things like that, because Anne is a little down and out.
Right.
So
she went through a procedure recently, so she's off her feet.
She's feeling better, so that's good. She's on the mend. So yeah, I was coming home and I'm like, what would I'm like, well, would it be like facility care, like the operations and maintenance, like housekeeping? Like, well, they could just zap things out. And what about laundry services? I mean, I'm like, well,
laundry's a good one.
But it's like
laundry on the Enterprise. All of the you have to clean all the uniforms of all the red shirts or the gold shirts in this case that didn't make it back.
Wouldn't they necessarily like be toast? I don't know.
Yeah. Not always.
Yeah.
But here's an idea I came up with is if we go early into Star Trek chronology, think of the crewman who had to pick up after Captain Archer's dog Porthos.
Oh yeah.
Or was Archer just such a cool guy that he picked up after Porthos on his own?
Yeah, I don't know. It's the joys of owning a dog or having a dog.
I'm familiar with it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. See, it was that question though that reminded me of a conversation Susan and I had once while watching Next Generation. Like I made an offhanded comment, I'd love to live on the Enterprise. And she goes, what are you talking about? You don't even want to travel out of the country. I said, and my reply was, I didn't say I wanted to leave the Enterprise.
Just be on it. We need an away team. We need volunteers for an away team. Billy goes walking back into his office. He's fine.
I'm not leaving the ship.
Nope. I got everything I need right here. Shore leave. 3 weeks of shore leave. Nope, I'm right here. It's good.
That's what the holodeck is for.
Exactly.
Yeah. So yeah, that was the one that like really like kind of made me start thinking. I'm like, okay, well, keeping it clean, dust, getting all the dust bunnies. Yeah.
I got to imagine that they have some sort of a Starfleet issue version of Roomba.
Yeah, maybe.
You know, it's got like anti-grav and hovers, and it's like that molecule air purifier that it doesn't just collect things; it destroys the dust bunnies as they suck them into the system. So
yeah, something.
Ultimate cleanliness. I don't know.
Food replicator repair was probably
that's a good one. Yeah. Worst job on the Enterprise would be not the chief of security or the assistant chief of security, but the number one guy, right? Like your top security officer, because he's the one invariably that's going to go on the dangerous away missions. So Just saying.
But they might like the danger, so
that's true.
It might not be a bad job.
That's true.
I mean, if they're going to be in that position, they probably
they look forward to those kind of things.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, let's go.
It's kind of like the Christian Kane of leverage. It's like, come on, let's go.
Yeah, there you go.
Either that or Parker.
I like money. All right, so moving on, we can have that discussion more again later. But number 11 on my list of topics to come up with: cuisines of the fantasy world. Which fictional universe had the best menu?
That would we'd have to do a lot of research about the different menus for the different universes. Right
now, off the top of my head, if we do make a podcast out of this particular topic, which I like, this is one of my legit topics on this list. My first two would be Game of Thrones and Harry Potter.
Yeah, I was going
to say Harry Potter.
The Game of Thrones books, every feast, they went into great detail about the menu. And it was just like living a Renaissance Festival dinner.
He went into great detail about everything in the books.
That's true.
From 5 different perspectives.
Usually from 5 different perspectives, yes.
Yes, he is a master of detail in the books.
So I think that'll be a good podcast down the road. Cuisines of the fantasy world. Which fictional universe had the best menu? So
that's what Dan's like. Ooh, these ones are good.
Johnny Mnemonic comes to mind because I remember reading the book, and it was really heavy into cyberpunk. So very heavy into Japanese, so therefore sushi and all of its forms and colors and variables. I liked that. That was kind of cool. Then somebody invariably is going to have to bring up pizza.
Yeah, I'll go with the Ninja Turtle universe.
Yeah, see, that was a lead-in. Thank you for picking up that bait.
But then you'd have to go on.
I don't know, but
to the which universe that you would never try the stuff that's on the menu, such as
Klingons.
That or Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Oh God, yeah.
The monkey skulls.
Everything's like floating and not doing it.
Yeah.
No bueno. All right. So that actually is kind of cool. We'll dip into that one. Suggestion number 12 on the list. We're going to need to get our guest list going because I know I reached out on my Facebook. I know you reached out on Monkey Business's Facebook for, hey, who you want to join us? And our buddy Bill Horst Cotter was interested in coming in and doing a talk. So I think it'd be great if we can get him in on the podcast to talk about amateur movie making. Because I know he's got his camera, he's got his editing equipment, he's got his rig. He made a promo video about FC3 one year, which I thought was great. So I think it'd be great if we could bring Bill in and we'll sit down and have a little chat about amateur movie making and what it takes and how to look at it and where you want to go with your ideas. I think that'd be fun.
Yeah, definitely.
Let's see.
And when he joins us, we say, "Welcome back, Cotter."
There you go. Because I'm sure he's never heard that before.
No, that's why I waited to say it. Oh, it's happy, but I can't help myself.
Number 13, I think, is definitely it's technology. It's basically once we get that ironed out, we can do that one. Let's do a podcast recording via live Facebook StreamYards. So I want to do the usual Nerd World News with us just basically doing a podcast during Nerd World News. I think that'd be great. Kind of combine the two of the 3 main products that we put together.
A combining of forces.
We'll call people. We'll get them involved.
Inside, sorry.
Joke. Yes, that's an inside joke. But definitely a fun one. So I think that's definitely a very viable idea. Mm-hmm. I think we'll have some fun with that in the future. As a matter of fact, it kind of stems into an idea that I had with the board the other day, but we'll get into that another time. Let's see. Number 14. Let's review a movie that was never made. We'll just take turns talking about the play-by-play, making it up as we go along. So total improv, right? So I'll start
like that.
Isn't that cool? I think we should spend some time doing that one. So like I just said, like once upon a time, and so in the first scene, I like how these particular characters kind of start setting up the whole story, and they're talking, and I'll start like laying out the whole kind of groundwork, and then Dan starts doing something, Billy starts doing it, and Tanya starts doing it, and then we kind of like jump in on each other a little bit, and as we tell the whole story of this movie that never existed and was never written, so we just kind of improv the whole damn thing.
But you know what would be frustrating? Like 3 years later, someone makes a movie of it, and it's a huge hit.
Yeah, And we don't get any royalties from it.
Which would just be our luck, wouldn't it?
Yeah, that happens a lot.
Yes.
And then number 15 is a reference to something Billy has said on several occasions. The Naked Show would be number 15.
And that's where I'm like, my screen's going to be off for that one.
Well, I wouldn't say that would be the video one. It would be just a regular podcast. It's like shoulders up. Where's strapless? It's not even going to be video.
Then I'm like shaking my head no as the cat. I'm like, well, see number 13. And then 2 ideas later was the Naked Show.
Yeah.
And then you're like, you overthink things. I'm like, obviously, I thought you knew me.
Yeah, I know. Seriously.
How do you answer that?
I'm naked right now.
Oh, okay.
Under all these clothes, as you like to say.
Yes.
And then the last thing was number 16, Legos.
Oh.
So
don't we talk about something of Legos like almost every single time?
There's always a Lego reference, but I think it would be great if we actually did a deep dive and talked about the Lego company, where it started, how it came to be, do a little history of Legos. Dan and I could talk about maybe our first sets. Billy, did you ever collect Legos as a kid?
I played with them as a little kid, but obviously because I'm the oldest one, they've gone leaps and bounds from where I was as a kid to where now I see, like, wow, I'd like that Lego Batcave. That looks cool.
Yeah.
And there's whole Lego stores, and back then you bought a box from JCPenney's or Jam Fields, and
my first Lego set came from the toy section of Sibley's downtown. Yeah, I remember it was a helicopter. It was like maybe 20 pieces total, and it was the ultimate department store, downtown Sibley's, and I was there on a field trip with school. I was like 8 years old, and our school took us downtown, and we were wandering around, like seeing all the sights and whatnot. We went into Sibley's, and we were given spending money by our parents. And I found my way into the toy section of the downtown Sibley's, and I saw the set. And I'm like, I want that, and I took it home, and that was that. That was my very first Lego set.
And because I follow the lives of the people in the Kevin Smith world, Jason Mewes is a huge Legos collector, and talks about he's got like a Twitch channel where he does Legos. And,
really?
Yeah. So
that is cool.
Wow. So they're like, every time I hear about this Lego phenomenon, I go, it's more than just those little blocks that I had as a kid.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
So,
I recently, a few years ago, anyways, I built a lot of the old sets that I had from when I was a kid. I still have pretty much almost all of the pieces. One of my kids there, we built a lot of the old sets. We took pictures of them. Boy, they look so antiquated compared to today's sets, but we still had the pieces and everything, and built most of them. So it was pretty cool to do that. But
I got 2 words for you, Dan. Galaxy Explorer.
Oh yeah!
As soon as you had that one, you knew you hit the big. You knew you had the big time.
Yep.
So
yeah, that was the ship at the time.
You could fit 3 Lego guys in it. 2 in the cabin and 1 in the little car in the back in the spot that opened up, the cargo bay. Yep. Yeah. That was it. So yeah, there's some really so it's funny because I started that list just spitballing silly things to get you guys laughing and thinking about stuff, but there's some like legitimately good topics to play with in there. So there's somewhere in there's some wheat among the chaff.
Oh yeah.
So I think what I just did accidentally is I created this is what you can expect coming up in the next few months of Monkey Business.
And that was like 30 minutes of spitballing ideas with a little break in between doing work and things like that. And then another couple ideas, and yeah.
And then there was a flurry of like 5 or 6 in the middle, and then I went back to going quiet, and then I'd come back and throw a couple more in. And I remember there was like this long gap where nobody was saying anything. It was like maybe about a half an hour later, and then all of a sudden, number 15, The Naked Show. So our listeners are getting an idea of what it's like behind the scenes with us sometimes, and how we actually, I don't think we've ever said we know what we're doing. but we've made a very clever ruse of making it look like we do. Yes.
We're having fun.
We are definitely having fun.
And the whole point of this is to have fun, to learn. So hopefully learn some stuff, have some fun, entertain you.
Yeah.
Like just a little behind the scenes for the people listening. Our original idea, even before we just turned on the microphones, was let's go through the list, then come back and talk about one of those. We've just spent 50 minutes doing the list. I don't think we're coming back to deep dive into one of those 15 ideas.
No, not in this episode at least. No. So basically, we've turned an entire podcast into the list, or the list into an entire podcast is basically what we did. That's funny.
Isn't that what you really wanted to do a couple weeks ago? And it's like, kind of like record our brainstorming meeting.
Yeah, I did. I got what I wanted out of that, didn't I? That's kind of cool.
That's pretty sneaky of you.
I was so sneaky, I didn't even know I was doing it.
I was saying, didn't you really want to record a brainstorming meeting? And,
I'm so good at this, I don't even know what I'm doing half the time.
Look, we snuck one past Dan.
We snuck one past Chris. Wait, Chris snuck one past Chris.
Except now Dan's going to sneak one past us and go, oh, yeah, well, I'm never going to release this.
I'm not sending it out.
Oh, I can't believe you fell for that. What's with you, man?
Oh, boy.
Well, if that's the case, then I'm going to start talking about all of Dan's deepest, darkest secrets, because then, there's no point.
Ladies and gentlemen.
We're going to take a break. That's one way to cut Chris off. This has been another episode of Monkey Business.
Can you imagine now if I can foresee it like years down the road. I'm doing the Doctor Who panel at FC3 15 or whatever the case may be. And I start rambling on about like the 20th Doctor or something like that. And people just want to go on to the next panel. And you hear a bunch of people in the back of the room go, dum, dum.
Chris is like, okay, I'm done.
All right, fine. I get the message. Fine. Be that way. All right. Well, we might as well not even take a break. Let's just go ahead and talk about any events, and then we can wrap this puppy up. Do you have your magical list of questions that we can do our question of the week with, Daniel?
I do have the list of questions.
That is amazing. So where are we on events right now? We have an announcement about FLXCon, if I'm not mistaken. Am I right?
They have announced that FLXCon has been postponed.
Okay.
From August. They're hoping to go in the spring, from what I understand, but they just are waiting to see what happens for opening for Phase 4 and how that's going to impact. So they have canceled.
Go ahead.
We're still in a holding pattern for FC3.
And we're still in a holding pattern for the number 5 show. We're still scheduled for September 19th and 20th.
Mm-hmm. We're not 100% sure what's going to happen. We're trying to get, because since there's the lack of information about what, the phases will actually mean and what we, have to do, we're not sure what's going to happen at this point. So
we don't want to get the green light on September 15th. Just to get try to figure out how to get the word out and make everything happen on September 19th. And we don't want to build an entire show just to have it go dark, right? So we're kind of stuck at the moment trying to figure out what's going on. So the possibility of staying with September is in play. The possibility of moving to the spring of 21 is in play. We're trying to be fluid about it. We're trying to be understanding about it. We want to make sure that our patrons, our ticket holders, our vendors, our guests, everybody is safe and good and able to enjoy the party. That's been our message all along. We just want to make sure everybody's all right.
If we can go forward, we want to make sure it's a show that you can enjoy, not a show that, we can only have 5 people in it at a time. And
and we don't want to have bare bones, entertainment. We're not going to charge you a ticket just to come in and see the bridge simulator and 3 vendors.
The cosplay contest is just the favorite mask that everybody.
Yeah, your favorite mask.
I think the Stormtroopers might win, hands down.
Yeah.
So we're still debating that. We're still trying to figure that out.
So we're keeping an eye on that, and we're going to make the best decision possible. Mm-hmm. So that's a thing. All right.
The only thing we got for events.
That's it. So let's jump into our question of the week. Daniel-san?
Someone give me a number between 1 and 315.
300.
300.
This is Sparta.
Exactly.
All right.
It feels like it lately.
Yeah, all right.
If someone asked to be your apprentice and learn all that you know, what would you teach them?
Oh God.
Oh man.
Ooh. My young Padawan apprentice. You're going to learn the ways of organization. You're going to be able to color code and highlight and be able to keep things neatly organized. And hopefully everything goes back into its own proper space, at least in your work environment, not necessarily in your home all the time.
You're going to teach them how to avoid being OCD about it?
No, that's part that's part of the whole organizational method. Come on.
I see.
You embrace that.
I see. Billy, what would your apprentice be learning?
Well, let us take field trips. First to the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame.
Nice.
We move on to the television museum. And where is that? There is a television museum.
Television museum.
Yeah, let's look it up. Tiny's looking it up.
And also, may as well go to a tour of the comic book stores.
I want to be your apprentice, Billy.
Let's see. Do you want the early television, the National Capital Radio and Television Museum, or the MZTV Museum of Television?
I wonder if that's the one I'm thinking. The early television one, maybe.
Let's hit them all.
All of them.
Yeah.
Your education must be complete.
Early Television Museum is in Hillard, Ohio.
Well, that doesn't sound fun.
The National Capital Radio and Television Museum is in Bowie, Maryland.
No, stop for a second, Tanya. We want to apologize to all of our listeners in Hillard, Ohio.
Yeah. Let me see if there's a broadcasting museum, because those sound like are those museums for like the actual box, the television?
There's a museum of broadcast communications in Chicago.
That sounds fun.
The Museum of Television and Radio is in New York City.
I was going to ask if there was one in New York City. That might be the one I'm thinking of.
The Paley Center for Media.
The Paley Center, yes, that's the one I'm thinking of. Thank you.
Okay. You're welcome.
Let's go to the Paley Center. Even though that's what I would teach the person once I learned what it was.
So
I do Rock and Roll Hall of Fame
media.
Yeah, basically his pop culture history trivia. Like I used to have shelves of trivia books that I literally used to read to sort of memorize weird pop culture TV, who played who, how many seasons of what. So we'll go with that.
There you go.
Chris?
Oh boy. My apprentice should probably first go into some sort of counseling to prepare themselves.
So your guardian angel apprentice is just shaking their head?
Oh God, yeah. I've posted that meme on several occasions where you have a statue of the angel with face palming, and that's my guardian angel. You know what? I want you guys to answer that. What could I possibly teach an apprentice? There's so many different things that I dabble in, and so many things.
Their wealth of knowledge of Doctor Who.
Okay.
Yes.
I would introduce them to Elizabeth Rice on that one too, because she's better at it than I am.
Gaming.
Like gaming was the one
I
thought of.
Gaming I could do, yeah.
How to take charge of a room.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I suppose I could do that. I really don't even know how I do it, so I guess that's kind of like I'm going to have to feel my way through that one.
I don't know. Yeah, you just do.
Yeah, it's kind of innate.
You have this aura of charisma and this magnetic personality that just draws people to you.
Can I admit something to you guys? Since
you're an introvert extrovert?
I'm an extroverted introvert. I will admit that usually in the 5 minutes before a panel starts or before an announcement occurs or before we start podcasting, I'm usually scared out of my mind. I have stage fright. Do you guys remember that time we did the trivia at Salvatore's?
Mm-hmm.
And that was legit. There was like a 10-minute moment where I was like, I can't do this. I don't know how I'm going to do this. I can't do this. And of course, there's something that switches off in the back of my head. And then when I engage in the moment, I'm able to do the thing, and I enjoy it. And I think it's because I'm feeding off the people around me, and that helps, especially when it's a live room, right? And everybody's having a good time, and I can feed off of that and share that moment with people. But holy crap, it's hard. It's not easy to walk into the middle of a room and own it. It just, I don't know how I do it sometimes, to be honest.
Well, it's funny because I've seen that on occasion.
Mm-hmm.
And there was at least one occasion that I was able to help you get back into the groove of things.
Yep. I remember that.
It was the day of Anne's wedding.
Yeah. I was scared to do Anne's wedding.
Yeah, because there's a picture that someone caught of the two of us, because I have it.
Mm-hmm.
Wade and his best man were standing behind you. I was standing in front of you, so they kind of like caught my profile, and you had your hands on the chest piece of Darth Vader's.
Okay, the Darth Vader outfit, yeah.
Yeah, and because I had your glasses and things like that, and you could just tell just by your how you're standing that you're like, oh, I'm gonna F this up and whatever. And I know I'm saying, you've got this, you're gonna be fine, you're great, blah, blah, blah. I'm here, your kids are here, don't worry about it. And in a matter of like 5 minutes, bam.
Yeah.
You were front and center, and you were like owning the whole pavilion area, and you got it. And
I've done Shakespeare soliloquies in front of thousands of people. I have emceed 6 conventions, 3 of the 4 FC3s. I have done panels, podcasts. I've done 8 weddings, 1 funeral. I'm my own Hugh Grant movie. I have been on TV for this, that, and the other thing. I've been interviewed by newspapers. I've been in political campaigns. I've done all of those things. And you'd think that it's just, I'm just good at it, and there's an ego facet to it where I'd be like, okay, no, I can do that. It's natural, and I'm not even worried about. But I can tell you, assuredly, each and every time, I'm like, oh God, oh crap, oh shit, and then then the moment happens, I'm able to somehow get past that, and I cannot figure that out. If I could figure that out, I would bottle it, because I'd be able to teach everybody how to get past their own insecurities to just be awesome, and just be the people that they were meant to be. Right? I would love to be able to teach that, but I don't freaking know how I do it. It's just like, what is going? And then usually 90% of the time, I'll be honest, after it's done, I'll be like, oh God, I sucked. Oh, that was terrible. Okay, what did I do wrong? How did I do that? What could I have done better? And then I'll usually kind of go through. I have listened to every podcast we've ever done because I'm critiquing myself, because I want to sit there and go, okay, how can I do this better? I want to do that better. Oh, that was lame. Let me not do that again. Stuff like that. So if I had an apprentice, they should have a psych degree, because they're probably going to end up. They're probably going to end up. Yeah, they're going to probably end up in therapy or trying to be my therapist at one point or another. And I apologize to my apprentice ahead of time, because it's not going to be fair. But I'm also bad at delegating. I really am. I'm terrible at delegating. I wouldn't want to teach somebody to do a job that I would just do myself anyway. So, all right. So there was an expose and a brain dump. Moving on, Dan, what would you teach somebody? What would your apprentice be learning?
They probably have to learn the entire discography of Deborah Gibson. A fine appreciation of all things Lego, of course.
Yes.
And Disney.
Disney also. Yes.
The Disney connoisseur.
Mm-hmm.
Which means, Dan, you would have to take your apprentice to all of the Disney parks.
All of them.
Multiple times to make sure they learn them well.
Exactly.
And they would have to run the Great Space Coast Marathon.
The Great Space Coaster?
The
Space Coast Marathon. Yeah, they could do some running with me too. Yeah, there's some running.
Yeah, you're the marathon man.
You got to do the Disney marathon though, so it says you have to do that. Yeah, I don't. That's probably a good start, right?
Yeah. All right, so apprentices, if you're out there and that these jobs sound like you're interested, feel free to apply at Tanya at fc3roc.org. Your applications for apprenticeship should include somewhat of a resume, so we understand who we're getting involved with, a psych evaluation, and maybe a couple of coupons for Delta Sonic.
I have unlimited membership.
Okay, well I don't. So.
Yeah.
Oh, and you should also reference what your favorite where your favorite garbage plate is in the city, so that we can.
Yeah, if you don't want your food to touch, go with Tanya.
Yeah, seriously.
We're having garbage plates later today.
Nice. I'm excited. What am I bringing to game night tonight?
I don't know. Did you? We'll talk later.
Okay, fine. All right, so that's good. That's done. I think we can call a wrapperoo on that puppy.
Maybe.
Oof. That's funny. Oh my God, what an hour this has been.
Do people really want to be our apprentices, though?
Yeah, well, you know what? Poor sod probably wants to.
I don't know. I keep scaring away all my PAs. I haven't had one that really truly stays.
That's true. Or they find a better job within a different job within the company. I can't say that. Yeah. Different.
Well, because I've had them. I usually have them only for like the weekend.
Yes.
Weekend of the convention, because the rest of the time I am so like controlling and I have to like just do everything myself. Because otherwise otherwise I know I have to make sure it gets done. So, and I hate waiting for information from somebody else. So that's why I have to get it done myself.
All right. Well, that sounds good. So give me just a second here, Dan, to start you're gonna fade the final music, and right about maybe no, not yet. No, not Dan, not now. Not yet.
Oh,
almost there. Now. There it is.
Control?
There it is. Because this has been Monkey Business, a product of the Mighty Monkey Corporation, purveyors and producers of the Flower City Comic-Con, of the Comic Chicks, of Nerd World News, and of the Monkey Business Podcast, which you are now so gleefully listening to the closing credits for. Follow us on Twitter, follow us on Facebook, follow us on Instagram, follow us to wherever we go. We will lead you to where the entertainment is. You guys have a safe week. Have a great week. We love you. We miss you. And we will talk to you all very, very soon.
Dun, dun.